Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Welcome to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green. It is a pleasure to have you here with me today. Before we get started, I want to ask you something. How did you rest last night? How did you wake up this morning? Are you okay? Is everything all right with you? Are you feeling okay today? Well, I just want to let you know you are valuable. No matter what you went through, no matter what someone said to you, no matter how you grew up, you are valuable. And you need to treat yourself as such. Stop being codependent, giving everything to everyone else and not giving to yourself. These days and times, it seems like life is pulling us from so many different ends, so many different ways. And it seems like no matter what we do, it's never enough. Well, what is your enough? Do you know your stress level? Are you aware of how much you're putting outside of yourself and not giving your spirit man what it needs? As we are created to keep on going, aren't we? We're resilient, even when we don't want to be, even when things seem like it's overwhelming for us, that we don't have any energy left, but we keep on going. Well, today's topic is really important to me because I am a grief counselor, a grief and loss counselor. But not only that, I'm a mental health professional. And one thing about grief, it soaks up energy very quickly, but it's a part of life. One should know when one is grieving. A lot of times we ignore it, we deny it, we run away from it, we fight it, we struggle with it. But today, I want you to know a little more about it so that you don't feel so, discombobulated whenever you deal with it. And I got a guess. As a matter of fact, I have a few guesses. Isn't that amazing? Everything just happened all at once. Well, we know that one thing about fate, everything is put in place for reasons, and the reasons thereof is to save life. As I always tell my clients and patients, if I can save one life, I've done my job. I can go home and rest and know that everything will be okay. Because one put 1,000 to flight, and 1,000 can touch 20,000 just with one testimony. It takes one testimony to free millions. It's not amazing. But guess what? Hey, this is what the life we live. So guess what? Welcome again to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. I'm going to bring on my co-host as well as my guests, and I want you to maybe grab a pen and pencil. You might learn a little something today. Keep your mind open and keep your freedom free. How about that? Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Grand
Here
Rising.
we go. Grand Rising, beautiful people. Grand Rising. Yes, yes. It's a wonderful having you on.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm listening to some, but what's in the background? What is that?
Yeah,
So I don't know. Did you hear something? Is
yeah.
that
I'm
me?
hearing a little feedback.
Okay.
Kathy, I think we're having some audio issues with Kathy's.
Oh,
Yeah,
it could be. Do you have anything on, my dear? Miss Kathy, do you have anything on? Anything in the background?
yeah, or any other windows open.
Oh, oh, huh? It's her voice. Oh, you might have to log off and log back on. Something's not right.
Yeah, yeah. You got.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, there's definitely a distortion in the sound.
That's weird.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she talks fast, but not that fast.
Yeah, yeah, that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Tell her, yeah, log off and log back on. That. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. She has to do that. She has to do that because that's the only way we're going to be able to hear her. Because
right.
that sounds like it's
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep on going till our guest gets back on to get that audio repaired there. And again, we are talking about the grief experience. The grief experience. And, there's stages of grief. There's stages of grief. And the thing about this is that grief is a part of life. It is a part of life. I compare it, Naima, to ocean waves.
Mm,
Like if you're on the beach, you see the ocean waves come and go. They come and go, and
yeah,
they're in sequence. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? They're in
Wait,
sequence.
yes.
It comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
So, the goal is to know what to do when it comes.
Hmm.
What to do when it comes. And I'm hoping that everybody can hear me okay. Uh, oh, she was referring to Regina Green is on actually on our Facebook page. Let's see how it is now. Hold on one second, guys.
Is that better?
Okay, say something for us.
Praise the Lord. Hi,
Okay,
everybody.
We're back.
much
Okay.
better. Because we didn't know what was going on there for a second. But yes, thank you so much. I did send the email to the other guest. Hopefully, she'll be getting on soon. I did send it to her. You may want to text her and see if she received it because I don't have her phone number. Okay.
Yeah, she has it.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome, 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 Miss Ellington. Or is
Praise.
it Miss Nightingale? Which one it is? I'm
It's
so sorry.
Ellington. Ellington.
Okay. Okay, I said it right the first time. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Soulful Solutions. And from my understanding, you are a grief counselor too, so you know exactly what the dynamics of grief. Dynamics of grief. Grief is a very odd thing, but then it is a part of life. It's
Yes.
a part of life on every end. And the goal is to know when you are grieving.
Yes.
A lot of people don't even know when they're grieving. They think it's something else. They compare it to sometimes when people grieve, they're in anger. Sometimes they go through depression. They have a lot of anxiety when they're grieving. And the grief process is different from different angles, different people, different perspectives. I noticed that even, children grieve totally different than adults, and the grief patterns are totally different also in demographics. Everyone approaches grief differently, even in cultures. So grief is, like I said, it's a wide scale thing. I
Yes.
notice also in grief patterns in the young adults that, as we get older, we grieve differently than even young adults. So again, it depends on the perception, I believe, of where you are and what you are experiencing, what type of grief it is, because grief comes with loss. You can grieve over your keys. Oh, I lost my keys. Oh my goodness, I can't find my keys.
So
And we
that's,
lose that phone. Oh Lord, I tell you, that grief
oh, that's
becomes intense.
we
Oh
have a
Lord, I
name for
lost my
that now. The anxiety that you feel when you lose your cell phone. I can't remember the name of it, but it actually has a name now because people
It
keep
is.
all of their information on their phone. So the feeling of having lost everything in your life is so overwhelming when you lose your phone that they've actually created a name for that particular kind of grief. But I have
Yes.
a question though, because
Yes.
I've had some relatives that had children, and someone in the family died, and they didn't want the children to go to the funeral, and they didn't talk about the death around, like a grandparent, somebody who was in the child's life, and say the child was 4 years old, and they felt like, well, they shouldn't go to the funeral, and we don't talk about it, or they would say something like, oh, where she's just sleeping, but they wouldn't address the death with the child. And I felt that that was inappropriate. I think children can understand anything you can explain to them. But what are your thoughts about that? Like when a family member dies, because when grandparents die, if you have a relationship with your grandparents, they're gonna probably pass on. You may be a child. how should parents handle that? And what are signs that a child is grieving? Because most of the time I see children, misbehave, they're angry, and they end up getting punished for their expressions of anger. And I think parents don't know what the signs of grief are, and they don't know how to handle when a family member passes away that the child might have been close to. They don't know how to handle it and explain it and let the child participate in the ceremonies of their transition.
Right.
So what do you
Yes.
advise in that situation?
Well, I have
Well, go ahead, Miss Kathy. Yeah, go ahead.
okay. I wanted to first, wanted to explain this because a lot of people don't understand that grief is a personal reaction to a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Grief is a personal reaction to a loss. In other words, your grief is your grief, another person's grief is their grief. No two people grieve the same. Just like
Right.
Dr. Debbie Green stated, grief is personal.
Yeah.
Now, with children, it's totally different from adults, and also cultural differences because different cultures approach grief differently. Unfortunately, with the African American community, I have to say this because I'm African American. I'm colored. I'm black. I'm female. I can talk about me. My culture says that everybody's gonna die one day. Just suck it up. Get over it. And I
Mm.
always and with children, children grieve differently than adults. With
Right.
children, I notice that the millennials and the young people that I meet, I told Naeem I meet young people in Walmart and Walgreens, and I can always tell. I can look at the tattoos on their neck, on their chest, on their arm. RIP, rest in peace. They have pictures, tattoos, and you can tell by their facial expressions, grief will manifest itself somehow. With the millennials and young people, you'll see it with tattoos. With children, they withdraw, and
Mhm.
you have to have your spiritual antennas up to recognize there is a
Mm-hmm.
physical manifestation of grief, especially with children. But the initial response as an adult, as a counselor, is to build up the confidence in that child. Let that child have confidence in
Mm-hmm.
you. You have to get their trust by just talking to them, just showing them love, just talking to them. I can't, I call it talk therapy, Dr. Debbie Green. The grief counseling, we meet. I told
That's
Naima
exactly what it is.
it's talk therapy. We meet every third Saturday, where I am a licensed minister at a Brazier Church here in Chicago. Also, Naima, you're going to put that 24-hour phone number on the screen.
Well,
Or
you'll need to send it to Dr. Debbie because
yeah,
she
I'll send it to you. What we
she has to pull it up.
Yeah, Dr. Debbie Green, we have a 24-hour phone line service where people can call in. I am one of the certified bereavement grief
Okay.
specialists. We also have about 9 of us. And what we do, you can call us at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and just say, you know what, I had a dream. I'm having an anxiety attack. You know that grief is heavy. It literally might feel like someone stepping on your chest, like you
Mm.
can't breathe, like oh, I
Yeah.
can't, my breath is so much. And so what we
Mm.
do is we talk you through that.
Mm-hmm.
We listen and
Absolutely.
talk to you. So I always tell
Mm-hmm.
people call me, call us. We're here for you. 773
Right.
4144.
Now, is that anything like a suicide hotline where sometimes
Exactly.
people call in
Well,
distress, they're about to jump out the
yeah.
window, and
Well,
people talk
it's
them down?
Naima, it's like a preventive measure. You could call it a prevention. Again, I'm stressing is talk therapy. The
Mm.
problem with the young people today is that they don't have a voice. And that's why they're acting out. Because remember, grief is a personal reaction to a loss, and people react different ways. Some people start drinking, some people do drugs, young people act out, they
Mm-hmm.
do violence. And you see that manifestation so clearly in their behaviors. And that's only because we, as the adults, need to show them love. by allowing them to communicate how they feel. That's why I want this beautiful young lady, Ariel, that
Mm-hmm.
to join us. She's young and she's been through some
Mm-hmm.
trauma. Dr. Debbie Green, you said you sent her the link. I'm going to call her on
Yes,
her
she's
personal.
in the backstage. I'm just trying. Yes, we're going to introduce her in just a moment. She's in the
Yes.
backstage.
So
I also want to actually address that question. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. I just I wanted to also address that question that Naima also said in
yeah,
symptomatic orders of grief when it comes to children. A lot of
yeah,
times children will shut down. They will get angry. They will isolate themselves. They'll stop talking. And usually when this is happening, that's telling you that the child is actually getting into a depressive state, whether you
yeah,
realize it or not. And other adults, parental figures, usually want to not want the child to feel. They don't want the child to suffer. They don't want the child to experience the grief. So they think they're saving them, but they're not. They're putting them at a very disadvantage because they're actually telling them to suppress it. When you don't allow a child to
Mm.
grieve, when you don't say, okay, grandmother has passed away, and how do you feel about that? Letting them know that that person is no longer here so that they can go through their grieving stage, because grieving stage is just not just your average stage of just bargaining, anger, depression, what I'm saying, or acceptance. It's emotional outbursts, and we're talking about from the inside. There's a lot of suppressed emotions concerning the loss itself, and understanding that that physical person is no longer going to be here. But not only that, the voice is gone. What I'm saying, you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to touch that person. So all of the things that you usually would do if a person was here, all of those things are dealing with a loss, and the whole being has to actually go through grief. Your mind goes through grief, your spirit goes through grief, your body goes through grief, and your heart. All of the whole being grieves, and it grieves on different levels. They're not. That's the reason why grief would get complicated, because just because your mind might have accepted, your heart is still in it, because the heart holds the issues of life, and because it holds the
Mm.
issues of life, it is a replica of just the things that we deal with from moment to moment, and day to day. So it is, like you said, talk therapy helps, it assists, it puts them into a place where they can open up if they are ready to open up and really, explain, but most of all, touch those delicate areas of their heart that's holding on to the grief, and be able to speak it. Because if it's suppressed thoughts, because we know words have power. Words have power. So all the things, oh, I really miss her and I'm so angry because she's not here. That may not be said, because your mother, dealing with children, the mother may say, oh no, be quiet, sit down, you know. But then the
Yeah.
child is feeling something. And so
Yeah.
it's been told to sit down and be quiet, especially when grown folks around. Y'all know how the black people do it. Don't say a word. Okay. So this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is the pattern that the child
Yeah.
was saying even prior to the grief. Oh, I bet not say nothing because I can't explain. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then during the funeral, you still can't say nothing. They still want you to be quiet. So if you
Yeah.
want to cry, well, don't what you crying for? Sit down, be quiet. So, it is like
Yeah.
that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually introduce our next guest.
you know what,
Her
Dr. Debbie
first
Green,
name I do not have.
Ariel,
So I'm going to,
Ariel. Her name is Ariel.
yes. What's her first name, please? Ariel. Thank
Ariel,
you. Okay.
Ariel, and Dr. Debbie Green.
Okay. Ariel Bragg.
Yes.
I'm
Before
listening.
you before you introduce her, I wanted to say this to Naima and to our listening audience that grief has no expiration date.
Mm.
The initial stages of grief are 5 years. Can you see
No, it
that?
doesn't.
It does not have an expiration date. And when you talked about the heart, I call it a hole in the heart.
A hole in the heart.
There's a hole in your heart. You see that circle?
Yeah.
It's a
And in that hole, you have a lot of different feelings. You have anger, anxiety, loss of sleep, appetite, mood changes, priority changes, things that used to be important to you, you could care less about. And then you have the triggers. Naomi, we talked about this with your husband, your anniversary date,
Right.
their birthday. All these things are factors that's in that hole in the heart. There are feelings in that hole in the heart. This is an awesome show. Let's bring Ariel on. Let's get it going.
Okay, so we got 10 minutes to break. So we're going to go ahead and bring Miss Ariel Bragg. I'm assuming that's her last name as well.
Yes.
On. Let's see here. One second. One second. It has to adjust. Hold on one second.
Ariel, can we have you turn your phone landscape so that sideways,
That's strange.
so that your screen is wider? If we're able to do that.
Yeah, I saw her.
Let me see if I could change this.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm trying to change the landscape now. See if I can add her on
But
like
she
this.
can't. She has
Hold
a
on one
new
There
second.
she is. There she
Okay.
is. Hey, Ariel.
There you go.
Greetings and
Yeah,
salutations.
she has to turn her phone sideways. That's she has to
All
do.
right, introduce.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ariel Bragg. No fancy titles, just a human going
Okay.
through his
All right. So
experience
we
like
got to test
everybody
the
else.
mic. Let's see.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you
Okay.
got an echo back there. Do you have anything else on?
Mm-mm. I couldn't find my laptop charger because I would have used my laptop. I can't find my
Okay.
charger.
Mm,
Dang it!
understand.
I'm gonna find it for the
Okay.
next
Can
one
you
for
hear me?
sure.
Okay.
Hell, wait.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
good,
It's an
Ariel.
echo.
Okay,
It's an
okay.
echo in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
Well,
There.
I kind of came in a little bit
No,
into it,
it's an
so
echo. It's an echo in the background. You can't hear it, Naima?
Yes.
We're not on the same
hold on.
frequency.
You have.
We're not on the same frequency.
Let me see. What can I do differently?
Yeah.
Debbie Green, could she log off and log back in like I did?
Yeah. Try that and see that works. Yeah.
Okay.
And Ariel, if you can turn your phone landscape and turn it
I could leave the landscape.
yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Trying
yeah,
to
that's
think.
wider,
So,
wider.
want me to log back out and
Yeah,
log back in?
log out and log back in.
Right.
Okay.
See you, girl. Come on back with us.
I got you. I got you.
All right. All right.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
Yes. And,
Okay.
that's one of the things that I noticed
Okay.
with our culture, though, with the suppression of children's emotions,
Yeah.
and we make children feel like they're not supposed to show any emotions or they're being bad. How many people punish their children for crying? Like you say, you can grieve over a lot of things, a lost toy or a friend moving away. Children have a lot of things that hurt them, or when parents are divorcing. And I've seen a lot of children begin to act out severely when
Yes.
parents are divorcing because they're grieving the breakup of their families. And I think we're not sensitive to signs of grief in children because culturally we're treating children like they're not supposed to express any feelings, or they're being naughty or disobedient, and we tend to reach for punishment when they cry or when they scream or when they throw a tantrum. And a tantrum is frustration of not being able to be understood. So I don't know if well, I'm sure there is a way to help parents understand what to look for when a child is grieving. But Dr. Debbie, what questions should people ask? And Kathy, I'm sure you've gone through this. What do you ask a child? How do you ask a child who's acting out what's bothering them in a way that would help them feel comfortable explaining it, or even give them the words to explain to see if they're 3, 4, 5 years old?
Well, I know with me, I start out by just saying hi. These kids now, they're totally distracted by social media, and their attention span is not, they don't have a long attention span. So you got to pay attention to the manifestation, the physical. You can tell by their facial expressions what's going on with that child. And like I told Naima, Dr. Debbie Green, I was on my way into worship service on 38th in Indiana at the church, Apostolic Faith Church. And this teenager, he couldn't have been no more. I found out that he was only 15 years old. And he was walking slumped over with his grandmother. And I was just coming up from behind them. And I'm all excited. I'm walking fast. But I looked to my left. And remember, Naima, I told you, I said, something's going on with that young man. And I just turned my head as I was getting ready to walk past him. And I said, hi. And his grandmother said, hi. And I said, I looked at him and I said, something happened, didn't it? And he stopped dead in his tracks. And then I said to him, wow, pain is something, isn't it? And he just stood there. Remember, young people don't open up normally. They just don't. And then I started talking. And Dr. Debbie Green, I told Naima, I told him, I said, you know what? I remember when my mom died, I was so suicidal. And when I said that, Naima, Dr. Debbie Green, I could see the water appear in his eyes.
Wow.
And then his grandmother said, African-American grandmother, she said, oh my God. And then I just started talking. I said, you know what? People don't understand. They don't understand. And he still didn't say anything, Dr. Debbie Green. And then I started talking about, I said, and people say the wrong things, don't they? And then his eyes got more filled with tears. And then I said, I have to put a joke in it, Dr. Debbie Green, because I like to put comedy with these young kids. I said, have you ever seen that movie, The Terminator? And he looked at me and I said, you know that scene in The Terminator where the Terminator grabs the person by the throat and he picks him up from the ear and his feet are dangling? I said, don't you feel like you just want to grab someone by the throat when they tell you your mom's in a better place?
Wow.
And then he smiled. And we had a grief support class right there on the sidewalk on 38th in Indiana.
So his mother had died? Is that what had happened?
His mother had died. His mother had just died like 2 months before that.
Wow.
And me and his grandmother, and we stopped and we had a grief support talk therapy on the sidewalk on 38th in Indiana here in Chicago, right outside the church. And that young man, before he left me, we hugged each other. And his grandmother said, come sit next to us. And I said, no, we had our class, so we're doing good. I gave him the phone number, Dr. Debbie Green, that I want you, I pray that you allow the listening audience to call in. And his grandmother, and he thanked me. But before then, his grandmother said he had locked it down. He wasn't talking to anyone. His pain was so deep, Dr. Debbie Green. It was so heavy that he could not articulate how he was feeling. But parents need to pay attention.
That's how it is.
Yes, we need to open up and talk to these young people. That's what's wrong with them. We're not paying attention to them. Amen.
Right. Absolutely.
I hope we can get
Well, the only way I can, yeah, she's back. She's in the backstage. The only way I can actually put the number up, you have to send it to me because I don't have it. You have to text me the number if you want it to be attached to your yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Got my daughter laptop.
Oh, better. Oh yeah, sounds better. Everything. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear everyone.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh y'all got heads.
All right. Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I just got home from work, so my energy a little up still. So I feel good.
You work that night shift, huh?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I know we got to take a break.
Yeah. So I was told, well, not told, but actually, we need to take a quick break. And when we get back, we want to know what what your perspective on grief is, because I'm sure that's the reason why you were invited to the group this morning to talk about what you're going through. So we'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Right. And those who are listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press 1 when you're ready to speak. We got a caller on the switchboard now that has pressed 1. And we will be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Tune in to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear great topics and stories on grief and turn it into victory. Join Dr. Debbie Green to listen to stories of triumph and
praise the Lord. Oh my God, that's a great show.
Your life. If there is hope in the darkest hour, you can hear the Lord and you online. Your life. It's your time. So join Dr. Debbie Green with Soulful Solutions and call in on Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 515-605-9325 with comments and questions. Look to hear from you real soon.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve a peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Wow, that's running really long this time.
Just want to make sure you're back.
All right, welcome back to Soulful Solutions. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green, and we do have our co-host Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solution, and we have two guests today. For those who are just joining us, Kathy Ann Ellington, the president of O's House, and
Yeah.
also Ms. Ariel Bragg, a Millennium Perspective. I'm going to ask Miss Ariel. Good morning, Grand Rising, Miss Ariel. Again, welcome to Soulful Solutions. Okay, you're on statewide. Everybody can see you from YouTube to Facebook, and they can also hear you on Blog Talk. Isn't that amazing how much power you just got
Yeah.
today? Right. So, which means that guess what? It's up close and personal. So, I want to ask you just quickly. What is your perspective on grief? Like far as because I know if I could ask your age, please. How old are you?
32.
32.
32.
32.
Yes, ma'am. So, what is your 32? Yes, was that an echo? Okay. Anyway, what is your perspective on grief?
It varies, I guess, depending on what you're grieving. Death, grief is, it can be lifelong. But I know for me personally, throughout my life and my own set of beliefs and what I practice, I've allowed death to become my teacher. I've allowed it to teach me how to, you know, treat, make more time for people I care about. But even besides that, I allowed it to kind of just teach me how to know when people do transition that, I mean, the body's gone, but the spirit is not. And I really firmly believe that, like, once they transition, it's just the body is gone. And it does hurt that you can't see people again. But I also look at it as I gain, I gain a squad in the ancestor realms. I gain protection. So I don't. Death still hurts, nevertheless. I still will cry, of course. But you know, once I won't say chill out, but just reflect. I'm gaining a spiritual team. I'm gaining more protection. I'm gaining more insight. I'm gaining more wisdom. I feel like when I lose people, I've gained more, probably wisdom and insight through death than some of them through life. There have been people that have transitioned and we never got on one accord while they were here. But I
Yeah.
feel like we got on one accord when they transitioned, when they went on dreams and things of that nature.
Yes.
Another type of grief, I would say,
Awesome, awesome. So that's a okay. I thought she was finished. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, well, I would say another type of grief too is grieving a part of you that you lost through other people.
Yes.
I've been through abuse. It was bad. Honestly, I never thought I would come back to myself from it. And for a while, I grieved the old me. Like I was just grieving. Like, how do I get back to her? Like, when can I get back to her? It took it took a lot of accountability. Not to say that I fully blame myself for the things I went through, but I did take accountability for my role in the things I've been through. So it made it easy for me to get through grief. But I always just try to encourage people, who are grieving to. I'm just saying appreciate people while they're here because we don't have time. Like we got time, then we don't have time at the same time. Like we don't have time to. So it's like if you feel like people are valuable to you, reconcile now. Like don't wait till they on their deathbed. Don't do that because then it looks like so you had all this time to rectify the situation, but now you're waiting. Now it kind of feels like you feel a little cheated. But even with that,
Mm-hmm.
people are transitioning. When it's a situation like that, I feel like just how the body, like the woman's body, can prepare itself for birth, the body prepares itself for death as well. If it's not sudden, it starts to prepare itself for death as well. And from what I've learned, from what I know, maybe people who work in certain industries, when people are leaving, their life starts to flash before them. Like everything that's ever happened in their life starts to come before them. So sometimes it takes for people to be transitioning for them to recognize what they did. But I feel like, if you feel like it's worth forgiving, forgive it. Don't hold on to it. It's definitely, I wish I could have, not been so stubborn with certain people before they checked out.
Yes.
They came to me through dreams and sensations and, forgiveness, so now I can have more peace on this realm. But like I'm gonna say, like for other grief that I've been like when I know I came in a little late, you were speaking on children, and them grieving and things like that. When it comes to the kids grieving, it's rough because you don't, it's not a lot of emotional regulation when you're young. And even when you said something about, like, why are you crying? You should, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's so unfortunate.
So
It's
do you
real.
have children, and how old are they? And have they had the experience of having a loved one transition?
I have a almost 14-year-old, and no, she hasn't. And I am expecting. So now I'm expecting a new child next year. But I talk to my child about these things, even though she hasn't experienced it. But I talk to her about these things, and I just try to let her know now while she's young. Learn how to appreciate people. If there is a problem, if you feel like you value this person, reconcile your situations now. Do not harbor it. Don't hold it. Don't sit around here like it's just unnecessary.
Hey, Ariel, can you tell the listening audience about the heaviness and about that dream you had about the elevator?
Oh yes. I was 11 years old, and I was looking out the window, and my grandmother lived up the street. I saw two escalators, one symbolically going up to heaven, the other one symbolically going down to hell. Everybody going to hell had baggage, suitcases, luggage, bags on their back. Everybody going to heaven had nothing. They were happy. They were smiling. Nothing. And I didn't really get the meaning of that dream until I became grown. And I started going through trauma and going through life. And then one day it kind of hit me like, you can't ascend if you holding on. You're going to weigh yourself down to hell. You're going to literally put yourself in a hell. And then you're just going to look at the world in a messed up view. Because, I mean, it's a lot. Like, it's so many people on this planet, but everybody living in a different reality in a different world. Like, you got some people that say, most of the people they meet, they not worth nothing. And you get other people, everybody in my life means something. So it's like, I kind of get irritated when people, I get it. We get our views based on the things we go through and all that. Like, I get that. But it's like at the same time, like, look at the whole world, like, and draw from the positive parts of it. And I don't know. I feel like people need to take more initiative to surround themselves with better people and stop keeping people around just because you knew them for a long time. Because even that could bring you grief. Because I feel like if you're around the wrong people, you'll never figure out who you are. Never. You'll never figure out who you are if you're around the wrong people. But that's kind of my perspective on it, because I don't think I would have gotten to where I'm at if I didn't just take myself out of certain places and stand on it. Don't flip flop back. Once you cut a situation, dead it, leave it alone, move on. Don't flip flop back because people try to take advantage of your feelings and your care for them. But you gotta love yourself harder. I don't care. You have to love yourself harder than anybody can ever try to just take you back to old ways. I'm even currently going through like slight things now where I don't want to resort back to any old behavior. And I feel like now that I'm going at this place where I'm finding inner peace, I'm starting to find these ants and these lower level people trying to snatch me back in by doing just little stuff, whether it's talking crazy on the internet or maybe even calling me with a bunch of drama that I don't care about and stuff that they don't have solutions for. It's like I'm just starting to catch people. It's like, I don't know. I say this, like, people been watching me and on my pages and all that, and you got some that's real happy for me, and you got other ones that's like, let me call her and say some mess so I could get her upset or bring her back down. Like, I'm starting to catch when people are like testing me to see how far I've made it. And I'm like, I'm over it now. But that's kind of my perspective on like grief. But I do feel like as far as these children, I agree, they don't have a voice. Most of them do not have a voice. And it's really unfortunate because it's like, how do you expect the future to prosper if these children don't have one? And I literally can't comprehend why people, I don't know, kids the closest thing to God, in my opinion. Like, they young, they fresh minded, when they're not corrupted by stuff, I'm like, they the closest thing to innocence and purity. So it's like for them to go through certain things so young and they don't have an outlet of like love from other people. Like it's some kids they may have lost their parents to gun violence or any type of violent death, and then they got to probably be left with family members who may not like them that much or just don't know how to handle it, or maybe they didn't like their parents, and because they didn't like their parents, they may treat the child like they treated their parents. And I think that's real unfortunate, and I see that sometimes. So like whenever I do get the chance, I talk to kids. I love kids. Kids don't bother me. I love kids. Like I love my daughter's friends. Like they all real cool. Like they behave like kids do. But I'm like kids. I love kids. They just I don't know. I love kids. Teenagers, the trouble ones, the ones who seem difficult to deal with, that don't bother me. Because I'm like at this age, if they that difficult to deal with or that troublesome, what are they going through? It's not just out the blue. You got kids out here 9, 11 years old thinking about suicide. That's not normal. That's not normal. And it gets ignored. But like I said too, it's a lot of people that they don't care about these kids. They don't care. And I feel like a lot of them wasn't cared about as kids either. So they just feel like they just rather keep the messy cycle going versus trying to clean it up. Which I still don't comprehend, because it's like if you grew up hurt like that, why do you want to pass that along? Like I just I would never want my child to go through anything I went through. Yes. That's why I'm always talking to her, teaching her to watch out for people, and just she probably looking at me sometimes like, Mama, why are you telling? Because you need to know. I might lie to you, your mama ain't. Right. What I'm gonna lie to you for? Because I'm like, that's gonna fall back on me if I'm just lying to you and teaching you certain things. Now, it wouldn't make sense for me to do that. I'm like, your friends might lie on you because who knows, for whatever reason. So I'm just always kind of on her about stuff like that. So I don't want to go through what I went through, ever. So, and she don't want to go through it either. So I just make sure she listen too. I don't have a hard-headed child. Okay. She listen. I'm proud to say that she listens. Because for one, she don't like getting in trouble. She don't want no smoke. She don't like getting in trouble. She like to stay a goody two shoes, keep her grades up, and that's where I want her. She an anime nerd, and she like to make her own little cartoons, and that's where I want to keep her at. So I can just try to tell her to watch who you hang with.
So Ariel, did you want to share what happened to you that transformative thing in your life?
A multitude of things. It wasn't an overnight process.
What was the trauma that you went through?
I mean, I've been going through stuff since a child, since the age of 8. So I mean, this could probably be a long conversation on that, but I'm gonna say the main thing I could say is I'm gonna just be grateful for my own awareness. That's the only thing I can say. I'm grateful for my own awareness and my own ability to recognize and reflect. Everybody does not have everybody is capable, but everybody just doesn't do it. So I'm like, I'm gonna say I learned from watching other people who I don't want to be like. Like I don't want to be like that, so I'm not gonna be like that. But I'm gonna say one of my biggest transformative points, probably when my grandfather passed at 7. I was 7 years old. It made me grow up real fast. Because I mean, I don't know. I feel like my grandfather was my soulmate. That was my homie. That was like my rock. So when he clocked out, I just felt like everything just went out of order for me. But I grew up real fast. I experienced betrayal and just certain behaviors a little too young. Just a little bit too young. So I feel like it made me an old lady real young. So I was just like, I'm going to just say it like that. I had a lot of transformative points. At this point, I probably have a transformative point every 3 months now. Like, seriously. And it doesn't have to be from negative trauma. It's just I'm ever evolving. I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly and stuff. So I'm going to say it's something like that.
That's what it is.
And jail. Jail was a transformative point. I was pregnant with my daughter when I was in jail. That's what it is. And let me see. Well, to be frank, I don't fully have regrets, but I will say it taught me patience. It taught me how to calm down. It taught and after having my daughter, it really just made me realize I never want to be away from her. So I have to make sure I gain mental stability, emotional regulation. Because I'm like, I don't want to do anything that'll take me away from her. And I'm the only parent who take care of her. So I'm like, I can't. It forced me to really just grow up And even in jail, everybody experience can be different, but my experience was mature. I was the youngest woman in that jail, and I don't know how. I got everybody to get along. Like everybody crying, they depressed, they getting into fights. I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was God. I don't know if it was my unborn child. All I know is I stood my pregnant stuff on the table, and I pretty much said, "Hey, man, we got to get it together. Like, whether we guilty, innocent, we can't be walking around here just crying and depressed every day. Like, we got to take accountability for the things we did." And I don't know where this voice came from. I still don't to this day. Next thing I know, we start having talent shows every Friday.
Wow.
I don't know how I did it. And it was a lot of women in there pregnant, and they didn't have support. Some of them locked up because of stuff for their boyfriend. No letters, no visits, no money to get anything. I was spending my own money helping them women out, like every week. Give them prizes during their talent show. Like I was really helping them out. I just felt called to do that, and I just felt for them, like y'all pregnant and nobody care about y'all. Like it just kind of hurt. So I helped them out. I was 18 at the time, and then I know when I got out, I had so many thank you letters when I got home that I was not expecting. And I'm like, thank you for what? They like, because you so young, but you just got everybody to get along. I thank you for helping me out. And I'm like, that's not what I was expecting. I was just doing that literally out of my heart because it's like,
I don't know why that's happening.
Why these women pregnant and ain't nobody caring about them? And then I could see these bogus men in jail and they got 10, 12 girls calling and sending them money. And I'm like, y'all carrying life and nobody cared. Like it hurt my feelings. It makes me want to cry thinking about it. It hurt my feelings. Nobody should have to go through that. No pregnant woman should have to go through that. But it showed me that my soul is stronger than I give myself credit for. I had women 90 years old sending me letters from jail, like, thank you for looking out for me.
Wow.
And she even got into a fight with a girl up in there because her people sent her money often. So she was always getting stuff. The other girl, she didn't get nothing. So whatever she got that was sweet or a treat from jail or whatever, that's what she had. And she come over there trying to take the little bit she had, and I wasn't going for it. Like, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, get up off her. Like, people always sending you money. You get phone calls, letters, she don't get nothing. And we tussled about that. Like, I'm about 5 months pregnant. We tussled about that. Like, you're not about to take nothing from her. She don't get nothing already. Let's slow down. That was real low down to me. So I stood up for her. Still cool with her to this day. And I still looked out for her even after she got out. I don't know. The whole jail experience, it touched me. Like, some people might say, like, I got into a bunch of fights. I'm like, it wasn't like that for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I transformed that for the time being I was there. So I'm going to still say I'm grateful for my jail experience. Like, it was transformative. And even to this day, there are the women who are out. We are cool. They invite me places. They'll ask me to come to their parties. They have businesses. Some of them got married. So it makes me happy to know, like, at some point, I made a positive impact in a stressful place. And wow. I think because I was pregnant, people, my family they thought I was stressed out, depressed. I was A1. God told me you're going to be out before you have your daughter. And that was all I needed to know. So once I got that, I was cool. I was chilling, just looking out for people, just being cool. So I got all type of stories, psych ward stories and everything. That's why it's really easy for me to relate to people who go through things. I'm like, I done been through stuff people probably should have been deceased over, locked up over, or just loony in a straitjacket. But that's how I know I have a calling bigger than me, because I don't think I should have made it out of most of my situations.
Okay, Dr. Debbie Green, I told Ariel,
sounds like she's some like book material to me.
I'm telling you, I'm like, when is the book coming out?
Dr. Debbie Green, I told Ariel she's like Tina Turner.
Yeah.
We've been through some stuff.
Okay.
Come on, Ariel. Come on, Ariel. You know I'm telling the truth.
Yeah. But it's like, life will mess your head up so bad, and you'll convince yourself you can't conquer it, but you can. Like, yes, you can. Like, you can beat whatever life throw at you. You really can. There is no, you can't climb out. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like, even if it's not gonna happen overnight, but it can happen. That's why I just try to encourage people, get around the right people ASAP. Get around the right people. Talk to people who've been through stuff, who like helping people. Like, get away from people who want to keep you stuck because they don't want to climb out. because we can be easily influenced by our peers. You know, especially in my generation, even in the 30s, a lot of us still get influenced by our peers. So I just be wanting people to like, you can beat everything. That's how I feel. It ain't nothing you can't beat unless you tell yourself that.
Right.
And I think a lot of people should find you a practice, find you a belief system, find something to believe in. I feel like people gonna disappoint you a lot. God won't. That's just my opinion. I'm like, God won't disappoint
Hey,
you.
Ariel, say that. Ariel, say that again. Say that again, Ariel.
God won't disappoint you. People will though. People will.
Yes, and I told Ariel this.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we got about 5 more.
Yeah, you want to take a caller? 312-834 has been hanging on for a bit.
Well, we got 5 minutes, please. Let's take the caller real quick, and then I'll talk to you. Thank you.
All right. Area code 312-834. Please introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your question for our guests and hosts.
Good morning. This is LaToya Wiseman, founder of Women on the Move. Good morning, everyone.
LaToya.
Good morning, LaToya.
Good morning. I'm glad that I tuned in. Thank you, Sister Kathy, for telling me about the segment today. I have 2 questions. On last year, I have a 20-year-old that is artistic. His grandmother passed on his mother's side. He did not go to the homeborn service, and I became so angry because I had an issue with that because he was so close to his grandmother, and then she was there for me when I was incarcerated when my son was 2 months old. So I also didn't grieve that because I was also in a DV relationship, and he would go through my phone and he took out very important information. Like I didn't make the homegoing service either because I knew that his auntie sent me the information, but he deleted it out of my phone. So I was angry at myself for still being in that relationship. And then I became very angry with his dad because his dad told him to stay back because he's artistic and he don't know what's going on. So my son, he loves Jesus. He loves gospel music. And I knew something was wrong with him because when he would go to his room and chill, he didn't turn on no music. He was just sitting there looking at the wall because I had went in his room and I was checking on him. And I was like, baby, why don't hear no gospel music? You know I'm be playing your gospel music. And that's when he had told me, he said, Mom, I'm mad at my daddy because I couldn't go to my grandmama's homegoing service.
Wow.
And so
I
became angry all over again. And then now I have an infant, and we have a death in the family. And my infant, he's very happy. He wakes up clapping. He claps all throughout the day. And so I'm struggling with, should I take him to the homegoing service? Should I take him to the wake? Because I know when people are normally at homegoing service, people are crying. And I don't know like how that will affect him because he's a happy baby. So I don't know what to do. He doesn't know my cousin. He hadn't met her yet, so I don't know. I don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should stay back because I'm the only one taking care of him. It's me and him, and my family. They help when they can. So.
Okay. We gotta take a break.
That part because I want to go.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. We gotta take a break because I know the answer is gonna take a little while. We want to give everybody a chance to really answer you because I know there are a lot of people that are struggling with that kind of thing.
Well, Naima, I just want to let Latoya know right away because Latoya and we are friends, and Latoya, you know, I will keep Enoch, your beautiful baby, for you.
Wonderful.
And I support you going to the homegoing service because you have a lot of repressed grief that we will talk about later.
Yeah, well, we'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. Come on back. And if you've got a story on your grief you'd like to share, give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press 1 so we know you have something to say. And you can join us visually on Facebook and YouTube. Go to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green, and we will be right back after this quick break, so stay with us.
I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata. Everything you need, what your body needs, is found in nature. So Susan Essentials doesn't do it any other way. Susan Essentials provides your employees and individuals access to over 20,000 nutritional products, and they are shipped direct to your door. Because Susan Essentials is certified in plant-based healing, we're permitted to offer you the best nutritional supplements on the planet. They're non-GMO and sustainably produced, and we take the guesswork out for you. Let Susan Essentials help you take control of your health today. Hi, I'm Mama Joy. And I'm Reverend Rosemary. Join us every second Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time, here on the Female Solutions Global Radio TV show for Neighborship of Joy. We'll have powerful conversations inviting women to walk in the light. So call in 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak to the host. You can also join us live on the Female Solution Facebook page and YouTube channel. See you on the second Saturday on the Neighborship of Joy.
All right. All right. We're at the top of our hour. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green with my wonderful co-host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solutions. And again, our topic today is the experience of grief and the outcomes, a grief counselor perspective. I do have two guests on today. For those who are just joining us, Kathy A. Ellington of the President's O's House, and also Miss Ariel Bragg that was sharing her story of transitioning and actually examining grief over the years and being able to conquer and put that in perspective so that she can live a productive life, because that's exactly everything you said. That's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing, we are more than a conqueror. We're above and not beneath, and we're heads and not tails. And you lived it. You see what I'm saying? As God has given us the presidents over life, and understand dominion and authority and power. That nothing outside of us is greater than what's on the inside of us, and that's exactly what that means. And no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you experience at whatever time, whatever place, through anything or anyone, we have a choice. And the power of choice is extremely important, but it doesn't just become a power of choice, it's also is a power of decision. Because once you make a choice, then decisions are already made. That's the greatest thing about it. And we put those things in perspective. So I'm so glad that you shared that with us, and helped us to understand it from your perspective. Because guess what? You matter. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you went through, everything that you're going through, is for the life book. We have a life book. One is written, in the hereafter, and one is written today in the natural. So, as these things are constantly coming at you, you know what I'm saying? Because you're in your 30th degree. Because I look at life in degrees. You know what I'm saying? When we were in our mother's womb, we were God existed, which means we went from the unseen to the seen. You see what I'm saying? And then we were formed, not just formed in the human likeness, we were formed in the likeness of God. And the likeness of God is not a picture, nor is it a shape. It is a consciousness. And as long as we understand that power to walk in authority, then nothing can overcome us, because we were made in power. We were created in power. Amen. So as we continue to, move through life, you know what I'm saying? Grief, again, is just like the word of God clearly says, you know what I'm saying? A man's life is compared to a woman in labor. Okay, think about labor.
Ooh.
Labor is when you feel the most intense pressure unimaginable, but then you also will feel ease. So during your ease time, you got to prepare for your labor. During your ease time, you got to prepare for the birth. During your ease time, you have to prepare for the longevity of it. So you got all this preparation that you got to get ahead of, right? Okay, this thing is called life. Lessons, instructions for eternity. That's what life is. Lessons, instructions for eternity. So, grief is a part of that. So a lot of times we get to that point where grief then takes precedent over our life. So I'm going to go ahead and let you answer the young lady's question, because I think I also have, a perspective on that as well, because it depends on the level of, if he's artistic, can he grieve properly? And you said, what is grieving properly? But think about it, you don't want him to shut down. You know what I'm saying? You don't want him to shut down, and you can't rescue him in this grief. So, it would depend on how he deals with life, because even artistic people are see, autism is something way beyond what we even think or imagine. It's just that,
This is what
that's on a different developmental thing. But to be artistic, it means that you are really smarter than most people. But anyway, that's just my opinion of that. You know what I'm saying? Because they look at life from a different platform, all the way live. So they feel it differently as well. So, but whatever, I think, Miss Kathy, you wanted to address that
Yes, I do.
question that our caller was
Yes.
asking. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Deborah Green. Latoya, I talked to Latoya because, as I stated before, she is my friend, and my sister has a 13-year-old autistic child. And I told her that I feel, and I've done my own little research, that a lot of people that have autism, that are autistic, to me, they're angels. The way they look at life, the way they respond emotionally, they're just like little angels to me. And they're so much more intelligent. They're on such a higher level than us. They feel more. So I support her actually talking to him and taking him to the service. He's like a little earth angel. However, I did tell Latoya that I support her wholeheartedly, but I believe that again, she should talk to him about that, because my 13-year-old nephew who has autism, my brother died, and he was very close to my brother, his uncle. And we talked it through. Like Ariel, remember we talk therapy. Talk it through. Talk therapy. That's what I call counseling. Talk therapy. So yeah, a person with autism, they're still a person, they're still a child, they're just on a higher level intellectually. You can talk to them, Latoya. You can talk it out.
Couple of things. What you said about autistic people and what I've learned from my studies is that people who are autistic, they are on a spiritually higher level, and because of that, they feel the intensity of this negative environment, and so they create like a shield, and that's why they sometimes seem distant, because they're trying to shield themselves from the negative energy of our society, and sometimes they may seem to close themselves off from communication with people. They may seem in their own world, and it's to protect themselves energetically from this negative environment. But as you say,
love,
they're loving beings, and when you are a loving being and then you are being bombarded with the negativity of this environment, it can be painful. So you want to shield yourself. But as you say, we're all human beings, and everybody has a right to participate in the celebration of life of someone who is transitioning from this physical realm, and they're not going to see them again. And when it comes to children and funerals, my daughter, because my husband, he had a large family. And when my daughter was born, it's like we were going to funerals every month. That was actually almost like our family reunions. Every month, every 2 months, somebody was having a funeral. But this is how she got to know the family. The family got to know her, and I was able to help her understand the cycles of life, so that transitioning from life was not a frightening thing to her, in the sense of I didn't say things like, oh, they're just asleep. If you see somebody sealed in a coffin, that can be frightening to a child unless you explain it. Well, they're not in there. That's just the body that they were wearing. And children understand based on how you're able to explain it when you understand. So we can help children, whatever their situation is, to grieve and to express their loss, like you say, personal loss,
yes,
and to feel okay with expressing those feelings however they need to express it. There's no right or wrong way to cry, or like you say, no
expiration date.
no expiration date. If you want to cry all day, that's fine. We have to allow our children to participate in the family's celebrations of life, because it's more painful when you don't. It's like Dr. Debbie was saying, that grief gets suppressed, and it's going to come out in some other way that's destructive to them and those around them. So let them participate, let them express themselves. Don't judge them, and don't let anybody else judge them for however their behavior is. They're going to be okay, but they need to express their grief.
Especially children with autism, because remember, their spiritual antennas or their feelings are more intensified than us. And so my autistic nephew, the 13-year-old, we had talk therapy. I talked to him. I let him talk. I let him scream, because people with autism, his level, he was just screaming. He was literally screaming. And I said, "It's okay." And in the middle of his screaming, "It's okay." And then we just talked. Again, talk therapy. And Ariel, you can relate to this as a 7-year-old when your grandfather died. Wouldn't you have liked it if someone had just listened to you and let you talk?
I shut down. I didn't want to talk about it.
Exactly. You needed an adult, Ariel, that could pay attention to you.
Most kids don't.
Yes, most kids don't talk. It's up to the adult. It's up to the adult, Ariel, to reach out to a 7-year-old.
I didn't act out. I didn't know I could feel pain that deep so young. I say that. I was just like, whoa,
It was heavy.
It was real heavy. I didn't think I could feel like that so young. So I just kind of processed it quietly. but I didn't act out anything. Our whole family was devastated. So, but I'm still grateful that I got to experience him. So I have to always look at it like that.
Yes.
It's my road dog.
So I hope we answer Latoya's
Yeah.
question about how to respond to that. And I'm supporting Latoya with her baby and the funeral and her child. So
Just let him feel. Let him go.
yes.
Dr. Debbie, do you have any books that you would recommend for parents on how to help children deal with grief, like children's books?
Um, children's book. I have to research that. Because I mean, I have
Right.
from the perspective of yeah, I know the perspective, but when I'm saying for the view of what death is, because I'm a deaf doula, I'm a certified deaf doula, so
Mhm.
it is, and for those who don't know what that is, it's an inner life specialist. What I do is I counsel the families and also prepare the person that is in transition, so that they won't carry all of the baggage, as one would say, because that's what literally holds people in space and time. When it's time to transition, they hold on to emotional baggage. And I thank God for my spiritual gifts of propheticness that I will be, He usually, tells me, the Holy Spirit tells me at that particular moment, like, this person is dealing with holding on to this from 8 years old, 5 years old, because we rotate at the last 30 to 45 days. I don't know if people understand that, but we literally rotate in our minds when we're in transition. And if it's a sudden death, they do it in the time and space. It's the same way. If that person is dying, whether they got, I mean, 5 minutes will be a lifetime to them. To us, it's just 5 minutes on earth, but it's a lifetime to a person that's in transition. And the time it just keeps, it'll just spin, spin, spin. So all of this stuff that is holding on, what they hold on to, it literally makes it very difficult for them to transition. But if you again help them to, and to say, hey, I need you to release this. I need you to release this. I need you to release this in the process of transition. That helps. And you can also, if I could also say this, when it comes to children, I know we're really buffering today because the weather is terrible here in Atlanta. I don't know how it is there in Chicago, but it's not good here. An area where, like I said, when a child is shutting down, you have to stimulate the senses of the child before the child feels the comfort to open up. So, what I always tell parents to do when the child is going through a grief period, especially loss of a loved one, holding and cuddling is very important, and rubbing, literally like rubbing them, with some type of physical. You don't have to say anything. Just hold them and rub them. And what you're going to do, you're going to stimulate the nervous system and slow down that body consciousness of feeling the grief, because they're feeling warmth, they're feeling love. And what happens is the mind will then communicate with the heart to let it know, okay, I feel safe, because you're going to feel safe because you're cuddled. You're going to feel safe. And then it will give the heart a tug, as I would say, like, okay, it's all right for me to let go. And usually tears come. Usually
Mhm.
tears come. Even if they're not saying anything, they start to cry. And that's a signal letting you know that the heart is yielding. And then you rock them. While you're rubbing them, you rock them. You rock them back and forth. And it doesn't matter if they're 2 years old to 17. Anybody, I mean, can do this to anyone when it comes to children and also adults, because adults shut down in grief as well. This is something normal that people do. But if they don't mind you touching them, and you have to ask them, and I'm not saying strangers, I'm talking about people so don't go around hugging strangers, okay? But what I'm saying, people that you may know, just let them know, it's all right. And even if you just take their hand and rub their hand, it's the same thing. I have had clients and patients that are going through grief. I immediately grab their hand and I start to rub it very gently and letting them know it's okay. It's all right. I need you to release now. And I talk to them very softly. I need you to release now. I need you to release now. Usually by the time I get to the seventh, I need to release, tears will start falling because I'm actually, as I said, stimulating their nervous system and coming through their senses. People want to feel safe when they're grieving. They want to feel safe because fear is at its highest level. You know what I'm saying? Fear of the not having, fear of the uncertainty. So they want to feel that. So that's just another strategy that I've used in my practice, helping others to do that.
Yes.
When it comes to understanding the power of touch, the power of touch is extremely valuable. I don't think what we've gotten away from the power of touch because of technology. You know what I'm saying? So we don't get the opportunity to say, "Hey, can I give you a hug?" We have hug classes where I am. I know that sounds a little weird, but I can speak to anywhere between 10 to 30 people. And I say, excuse me, if you don't mind that person hugging you, can we just hug each other for one time? No, you ain't got to get real because you do church hug. It's okay. I just need you to hug that person because that person need, especially you can look in their eyes and say, oh, you feel sad today, don't you? Okay.
You need
All right. Okay.
positive
I tell you, everybody just get up and just do a quick hug. Do a quick hug. Okay.
Now,
And for those who do have problems with people touching them, okay, guess I need to shake your hand. I need to
Mm,
shake your hand, let you know, hey, somebody's here to help you.
what,
yeah.
Touch therapy is extremely powerful, extremely
uh,
powerful.
well,
But
I
again, we're still talking about grief.
Yes. Yes.
I agree with you, Dr. Debbie Green, about touch therapy. However, millennials like Ariel, they're not touchy feely, and
I am.
yeah, well, Ariel is touchy.
I guess it depends on the
Yeah,
person.
yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends on the person,
Yeah, a
but
lot of them are. You need to
They
yeah,
be
so
in
know it.
I touch them with words like Ariel. Latoya just sent me a message that we did answer her question, and Latoya wanted me to tell Ariel that she is a pillar of strength.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hallelujah.
I just be trying to get through my life,
I love me some Ariel Bragg.
Oh man, look,
You know, I just think you're all that in a bag of potato chips and
oh
a french
thank
fries
you.
and
Y'all love me yourself.
milk in the relish.
I appreciate this so much. Y'all just don't understand. You really just don't understand. Matter of fact, I never spoke on how grief made me act out. That's the part I didn't get to. Terrible.
Mm.
Terrible. I was one of them suicidal teenagers.
Oh
It
wow.
was like, as a
It
child,
does.
you,
Mhm.
my family would say, "Oh, you just seeking attention." Duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
Get
Like,
that wrong. Yeah,
come
right.
check on me. I shouldn't be feeling like this as a teenager. Like, I shouldn't be feeling like this as a child. And they just were the type where they felt like, well, why you feel like this? We get you everything you need, yeah, materially. But I
Mm.
wasn't fulfilled emotionally growing up. So I was a very sensitive, like
Right.
sensitive. Not cry easily, but just felt everything real
Yes.
easy. But I also tied it into my intuition too, because people try to make it seem
Mhm.
like something wrong with me because I'm being sensitive. No, like I'm just not stupid, and you're not about to insult me or play with me. Like I was a little bit troublesome a little bit just because I don't know. I guess it was like I felt like I had to behave a certain way to get basic love and care. Like if I didn't act like my other cousins or something, nobody really wanted anything to do with me because I'm just a little bit more vocal or maybe a little bit more chaotic. So they'll take it as that's wrong or you shouldn't be that way. Just because you're more laid back and chill doesn't make you like you're not toxic or like you don't have negative traits. Just because I'm more vocal and willing to speak out, that doesn't make me wrong or toxic. That just means I'm willing to stand up for myself
Right.
and I'm confrontational. And it doesn't have to be negative confrontation, but if it's a problem, I like to solve it now.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to hold resentment because then I explode. Now you're looking like what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I try to I like to handle my issues right away. But like all of like the suicidal attempts and the thoughts, the medications, I got around so many kids in them psych wards, and from my experience, I'm like, so many kids are gifted. They're very gifted, and they get casted out because nobody understands them. And I feel like I was one of those people growing up. Like I got casted out and outcasted because I was misunderstood, and you don't act like everybody else, so we don't really, what I'm saying, we don't really want to mess with you like that. Or play me on holidays. I'll never forget, like playing me on holidays or mistreating me on a Christmas or something, like I'll never forget it. So honestly, I still be shocked that I'm sane sometimes. Like I don't know how I'm still sane for a lot of stuff I've been through, but I'm sane. Like I'm cool. I'm solid. I'm stable. Can't nobody shake me. Can't nobody break me. Like you just can't. I'm iron. I'm steel. Like there is no breaking me.
Well, Ariel, that's why Latoya told me to tell you that you are a pillar of strength.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to get you a big rock and put it in your house and say, "That's me, Ariel."
I'm the rock. Yeah.
It was difficult because I had to really learn how to restore my own vitality. I didn't get that from outside. I had to learn very young to pump my own heart, get my own blood going.
Yeah.
Because and it's like now that I am where I am mentally, it's intimidating to people who haven't done the work, and it's intimidating to people who want to cross my boundaries, and it's intimidating to family members who may still see me as a child or know they can't talk to me a certain way because you gotta give me respect. You have to, because I'm gonna give it to you, but you gotta give me respect. You can't talk to me like the way you used to. Like I'm 12, 13 years old. I'm getting called B words, H words, and I did not know why.
No.
Like I can confidently say I wasn't doing anything to deserve it, So I was a little, loony in the head because I'm like, I don't understand why my family put me through this stuff. But but they think and I traveled a lot as a little girl. So we take you places. You've been here. You've been to Mexico. I'm grateful for that, but it's like I still wasn't emotionally fulfilled. So it's like instead of y'all trying to understand me, y'all immediately send me to a doctor for medication, and
right, that's the point.
I didn't like it.
Right. Yeah, we have a couple of callers on the line. I think one.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Hold on 1 second. Just give me a half a second here. This is the reason why people are suffering, because people are not emotionally available. And like you said, because if a person doesn't want to be touched, it's because they were not, their parents or whoever raised them was not emotionally available for them. So now you understand the value. I'm talking to Miss Area. You understand the value of touch, because touch is valuable when you can allow yourself to feel that. Like I said, I use both. I use touch therapy and I use talk therapy, because those two are very important to use, because we're stimulated through our senses. We can go ahead and take those callers right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I think a couple of them dropped, but they'll come back. And we got one at 312-833. We'll squeeze you in before the break. Go right ahead. Give us your name, where you're from, and your question for our guest and host.
Well, shalom. We don't die, we multiply. That is beautiful. And that power is a way of life. I'm Brother Minister Robert Ford from Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, got a minute for the break.
The first thing I want to say is Naima Latif and your guest, for anyone that might not want to be touched, then don't force yourself or anyone force themselves on anyone else. Okay? Yeah. Respect is everything. And for the
no, we don't do that.
People,
right.
Yes. I'm just saying, for the autistic people, they always is a special gift from God. Mm-hmm. And they are like angels to me. In reality, we all are blessed, no matter who they are, and they can be blessed as a superstar, even as a artistic person. When you learn better, you know better, and you do better. I've had some unique and essential, I would say, experiences that no one can say that I am not a genius. And artistic people are usually geniuses because they are different. It means to me that they are essential. The world responds to need, greed, or curiosity. So we all need each other. And thank God for Sister Naima Latif and the Female Solution.
Well, we thank you, Brother Plump. We appreciate you so much. We got to take a break now. But we'll be right back after the break.
When I come back after the break, I'll be right here.
Yeah, hold on. We'll be right back after this quick break. And we invite you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment with Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And if your call dropped, that happens sometime if you're traveling, just call back in. We'll open your mic. And of course,
y'all don't pay attention to me because I'm just free, okay?
Okay, amen. Go Ariel.
You better go ahead with that commercial. I start talking now.
We'll be right back. So stay with us.
Hilarious.
Hey, it's time to take charge of your health. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach, and every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, I'm here on the Female Solution to empower you to make choices that will assist your evolution to abundant health. I'm also blogging every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Soul Purpose Healing, where I bring you practical
I'm still processing this.
our Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom. Join me every Friday morning at 8 a.m. evening at 8 p.m. for a time of unity, enlightenment, and love vibration. Shalom. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed, into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Delta Speaks for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit DeltaSpeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moment tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening. Have you ever dreamed of going to exotic places, meeting fascinating people, enjoying uplifting music, and spending nights in a luxurious hotel? Do you look forward to a relaxing vacation where you can walk along the beach or sit in a quiet park and enjoy the sunset or sunrise? Whether you're flying around the world or driving across the country, we will share travel tips that will help you stay safe while you enjoy the journey. Join me every third Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and move around with Deborah here on the Female Solution Show. Just call in and comment 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. Almost there. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green. And wow, that's all I can say. This is a great show. We're at the top of our hour right now. We have 30 more minutes left in the show. And I'm just excited. I'm just excited about, where that
Yeah.
sound is coming from. I don't know where that is,
Oh, yeah.
but
Somebody's got
it's
some
so. Can you
background.
hear that?
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
let me mute all the mics. Yeah. Okay. And I sent you
There's
a
some
couple of
background
things.
noise there.
Yeah, I just muted the mics so we don't have any background noise. But
I
I
got.
sent you a couple of things.
Uh-huh.
One was a book that Baba Kwame Sunhorse sent to me, and that was called The Goodbye Book, and
Okay.
written by Ruby Kalyani. And it's kind of a children's book on saying goodbye, helping with grief. And then also I sent you a link to a video, and this was
Mm-hmm.
by Hans Wilhelm, Death and Dying, explained by Hans Wilhelm. And he's kind of like a children's book author also, and he produces children's videos or videos that children can understand on the process of life and death. And he's got a whole series called the Life Explained series. So these are a couple of tools that people may use if they
Okay.
want to open up the conversation, share these things with young people who are dealing with a loved one's transition. Our culture really doesn't handle death very well. We don't
Right.
have a way of helping children see the continuity of life, where you're ever existing. You're this transition from out of the body does not mean that's the end of your existence. And because we have different faiths, different belief systems, some people use the fear of heaven and hell and all of that to scare their children into right behavior. So they end up having a fear of death, a fear of God, in the sense of somebody who's going to beat you, your parents beat you. And that doesn't open you up to the love of God and the love of the Creator that is there to comfort you. So we have to rethink even the things that we project, because they're not healthy or helpful to children who are going to experience the transition of a loved one, just because people leave here all the time.
Right.
And we have to be prepared for that and prepare them for that, especially if somebody's ill,
Right.
and it's terminal. They need to be able to emotionally prepare for the grief process, and we as parents need to be prepared for however their behavior may change, so that we're not punishing them for disobedience. We're understanding that they're grieving, and sometimes we just like Kathy was saying, sometimes you just need a hug. You just need a hug. And then of course Dr. Debbie, she can even explain how to hug the person who's grieving, even if they're stony faced and shut down.
Yeah.
There's
And
pain inside.
exactly. Yes, ma'am. It is, because you always ask for permission first. I was
Yeah.
going to tell, Mr. Plump, Minister Plump, that you don't just go around and just hug somebody. No, you ask.
Because that
You
is their
ask. I don't
personal
care if they're
space.
2 years old to 100.
Right.
Say, excuse me, can I touch you? Well, yeah.
And
You always ask. You always ask,
and
because again, people who struggle with touch did not have emotional availability when they were young. They didn't get cuddled, so they struggle with that. And that's one thing, because I work with adolescents, adults, and also the geriatric community. So you always ask, say, do you mind if I touch you? And they'll say, well, I don't. They move back. They say, no, I just want to touch your hand. Do you mind if I hold your hand? And you rub them on the hand. You don't touch them on their body parts. You know what I'm saying? Now, if for some wants a hug, because I've had adolescents to walk in my office and they were going through a hard crying, I would be non-existent, but most of all, not the mama D that I am. Okay, come here, baby. Let me hug you. And they felt better. They literally felt better.
yeah,
Now, I don't do it all the time. I do it when necessary. It's PRN hugging, y'all. No, I don't go around hugging people. It's PRN. That's as
oh,
necessary.
what
Some
is
people just
PRN?
need that comfort right there in that moment. You
Yeah,
see
what
what
is
I'm saying?
PRN for people who
As
don't know?
necessary.
What does PRN stand for?
As As necessary.
Oh,
It
necessary.
means as necessary. You get it when you need it.
I
Yeah,
see.
only as necessary. That's PRN. That's a
Okay.
medical term. As
Oh,
necessary. You
learned
don't you
something new
don't you
today.
don't do it all the time because everybody right doesn't want to be hugged. But
And
somebody,
you know what?
but like I
But
said,
that's a
when
good point
people are in
also.
pain, that's what they do. They want that.
But something also,
Do what now?
and I'm glad I'm glad that
Okay.
we brought that up, because a lot of people will make a child go and hug somebody and the child doesn't, and you're like, okay, go hug Aunt Sadie. That child don't know this woman. So you have to also be sensitive to when children don't want to hug somebody. Do not make somebody hug somebody, like Minister Plum was saying. Don't force it. Because I can remember as a child, I didn't like hugging people that I didn't know.
Well, you wait a minute, Naima. What about as a child?
Honey, Auntie don't want to hug.
I remember hugging someone,
Auntie
Ariel,
don't want to hug. I'm
Jeffrey,
sorry.
when
There
I
ain't
was
nothing you can
young,
do
and
about
they
that.
were older people, and they smelled bad.
Yeah. And a child is honest. I have seen where somebody will punish a
Y'all just
child
going
for
other
being
areas in the
honest
show. We
and
ain't talking
saying,
about that. We ain't talking
but
about grief.
but
We ain't got but what, 5
but
minutes.
when an older person,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
honest,
It was at a
they say,
homegoing service.
but
It
she smells bad, and
It
you
was at
want
a
to punish the
homegoing
child.
service, and I was a kid. The old woman, she smelled bad, and I was
Black
like,
people.
"Oh
Too many black people.
no!"
And you're
Lord have
3 years
mercy.
old or 4 years old, and you say it out loud, and then you get slapped, and you're like, but why? So we also have to let children be honest. If they don't want to hug somebody, it's okay. If they need to hug
Evelyn saying you gonna get beat for hugging somebody or not hugging somebody.
I'm just talking about the rights of a
Stop
child
it.
over
Oh
their
my
own body.
goodness.
When back in the day,
No.
you get that backhand slap because you're a kid. You were like, "Oh, she smell bad." It's like a boomerang. You slapped across the face.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I'm just telling you, amen,
But,
amen,
but
I'm
how do
so
you deal with
sorry
that?
you experienced some backhand slaps because I should have did
amen,
mine. I
amen.
didn't experience that now.
I think that ties back into you saying kids don't have a voice.
Yeah. You don't have a right to say, no, I don't want to hug that person.
Just
I
that's
don't want
what
to hugging
I
me.
told them. I said they isolate. They isolate.
A lot of people don't respect kids
Okay,
either.
so we want to take these last 15 minutes. We're not
So
talking
how do we
about
handle
people
that?
smelling bad. Y'all just terrible. I just don't.
Well, we got a couple of calls. The callers that dropped came in. Let me get to the callers that dropped.
We put some humor in that. The Bible
No, we
says
need to take the callers. We need to take the callers. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to do that another day. Why children don't like to hug other people. Can we do
That's a
that
show
another
in
day,
itself.
please?
That's a whole
You
show.
pick up vibes quicker than
Yes,
anybody.
it is.
312-778. Your mic is
Yes,
open.
yes.
Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for our guests.
Hi, yes. This is Sarah Israel, aka known as Miss True Bay, calling in from Jamaica, from the province of Illinois.
All right. Thanks for
Yes,
calling.
Hi, I want to thank all the mothers and fathers out there, as well as I want to shout out the Female Solution for providing the platform for us to be able to speak out. We have an upcoming Father's Day parade on June 18th at 55 West Washington at the field house.
I love you, my sister, but we only got a couple of minutes. So if you're going to speak, I really need you to ask a question on the subject. I love you, but we really need you to do that. If you got a question or comment on the topic of grief, I love you, but I need you to do that.
Grieving is definitely a sensitive time or whatnot like that, and it's always good for us to, have time to be able to, support each other. So I was just calling in to shout out, we having the Father's Day parade, and just to say, grieving is definitely a time to be sensitive and to, take everything at ease.
Well, we thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, and we look forward to the work you're doing. We thank you so much. Thank you for calling in. Feel free to call in again. We love you.
Thank you.
All righty. Area code 312.
Sweetie, if you want to advertise, we'll take your sponsorship for a show.
Yeah, I'll text you the link to the advertising.
Next caller.
Area code 312-450. Your mic is open. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for our guests on handling grief.
Hey, you guys, my sisters, how you doing? This is Sister Darla calling all the way from the Windy City, Chicago. Want to say hi to all of the women and the producer of the show, as well as my girl, Debbie. Hallelujah, God. And so, what I wanted to say, it's you talked about grief. Grief is something very, it's very serious, very intimate. It's just a situation where I tell everybody that we must go to the Lord and ask Him to comfort us, where He is our comforter. We must know that God understands grief. Jesus even wept after Lazarus had died, passed away. But I say today, I think that today grief is something that people don't take serious. They take it too lightly. They don't understand that people can grieve from different things and different places and situations. But I say that we all must pray and ask God to heal, save, and deliver us from being in that type of situation, because grief can cause the person to want to commit suicide. Come on, y'all, hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Grief can make you just stay away from people and shun off. And so what I said is Dr. Debbie Green, I know that grief is very serious, because I don't grieve, but grieve in the Holy Spirit. Look that up. Look up the scripture that tells us about grieve in the Holy Spirit. So grief can be very serious, but I say to everyone, if we just get filled with the Holy Spirit, study the Word, and we pray, that is what it will deliver us from grief and everything else each and every day. And that's what I say to everyone. God bless you.
Well, thank you so much, and God bless you, Sister Darla. We appreciate all that you do. Yeah.
Thank you, my sister.
And you know, I think that when some people have a faith that helps them cope with a transition, some people do not. I think it's more difficult if you are someone who's thinking that, well, when someone leaves, that's the end, and I'll never see them again. And you know, not only do they have more fear of death, more lack of ability to understand it, or even explain it to children, or to understand other people's expression of it. So it helps to have an understanding from a spiritual perspective. You are not this body. This body goes back to the earth. You are an eternal being having this temporary experience. I think the more people who understand that, the more our culture will have a healthy way of handling the transition out of body. Because that's all it is. You're just changing addresses.
Well, you know what, Eric? Naima, what I tell people, Dr. Debbie Green, that are not on that spiritual level, I just give them a scientific explanation too about death. You know, the first law of thermodynamics is energy that is never created or destroyed. It only changes forms.
Yes.
So spirit, because it's never born and never dies, the spirit lives on. And then if they want more detail, I'll just tell them that person, if they want a spiritual explanation, I will give that to them, because I was extremely suicidal when my mother died. I told Dr. Debbie Green, told Naima, tell anyone who wants to hear it. It wasn't until an older elder of the church noticed me across the pews, knew that something was going on, took me underneath their wings, Ariel, paid for me to go to school so that I could be a certified bereavement grief specialist to help others, like Ariel is going to do.
Oh man. I would love that though.
It's gonna happen. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome.
I also feel like, you know.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, we got just another thought.
You only got 10. I was just gonna say, like, you know, my set of practices are Eastern based, African based, and I will say most of us in America, we grieve death in a very painful way. More so in Eastern civilizations, it's more, the life is more celebrated versus just grieving. Like even in New Orleans, maybe you may see like they may have a band, a whole celebration for it. And I'm like, I feel like that's more so how people should. It's better that way, because it's like, I mean, like the grief, you can really sit in that for a long time. And I feel like this country is made up of enough grief. You know, like it's enough grief in this country from the way it was created.
Right.
There's enough grief in this soil. It's enough grief in the. I wish the trees could talk. It's enough grief, you know. So I just feel like, you know, I would never tell anybody, you know, what to believe or nothing. But at the same time, I'm like, we should celebrate and just appreciate the time that we have with people, you know, versus feeling like, oh my God. But I'm like, if energy never dies, then we will meet again. Like if it's not done, like we'll link up again. Like we'll see each other again.
Correct.
Yeah, but Ariel, I like what you said about your dream. You're either going to take the elevator up
or down.
Or you're going to take the elevator down.
Correct.
Pull the baggage or let it all go, and you can rise. Yeah.
And get to the light, because you can't see nothing in the dark.
Well, Jesus is the light.
Yeah.
You can't see nothing in the dark. You just.
We got another caller.
Happens in the dark, though.
We're really buffering.
You know what? Naima, Dr. Debbie Green, the facilitator, the one that saved me out of the hands of suicide, she wants to call in. Her name is Darlene Lewis.
Okay, well, we got a caller 773-530. Your mic is open. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question or comment.
Okay. Everybody's talking at one time, and we're buffering. So.
Calling in live from New Mecca, Chicago, province of Illinois. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to talk because I'm in transit, you know what I mean? But I've been listening to the show since I've been out.
Great.
But it's a beautiful thing that we speak on grief, and we have the understanding that energy continues, it doesn't dissipate, it continues, we're everlasting. But let's also speak on the grief that the whole earth is grieving of. You know what I mean? Let's speak on the grief for the trees. You know what I mean? That's being cut down on a daily basis. Let's speak on the grief for the animals that's being locked up against their will. You know what I mean? Let's speak on, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Let's speak on the grief that the whole earth is grieving and waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. You know what I mean? The children of God to manifest themselves. So, you know what I mean? I encourage all the fathers and mothers, and I encourage everyone on the line to join us in atonement. You know what I mean? June 18th, once again at the Field House. I encourage, you know what I mean, everybody that's listening to join us and, you know what I mean, togetherness, you know what I mean, in peace and love and unity in the community. So praise God for the Female Solution, you know what I mean, for having the platform. And God bless. Y'all bless.
Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Yeah, so we certainly have had an opportunity to share some uplifting words about grief. And Dr. Debbie, you know, a lot of people are reluctant to talk about their pain because of the experience of not being allowed to express it as children. How do you get people to open up when they are that shut down person, or they've been shamed out of crying when they're grieving? How do you get them to open up and express, you know, grief that might be years and years and years? You know, someone has passed away and they're still grieving and it's affecting them. How do you get them to talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
well, one thing about opening up, because let me share this with you. The thing about this is what the heart does when we grieve, it closes. And when we allow ourselves to heal, it opens. So when the heart is closed, then that's when we can't breathe. Okay, it only beats enough. You only get shallow. You breathe shallow. You breathe shallow, and it's just enough for your heart to beat so your body can move. You see what I'm saying? So we get to that lowest energy. That's why grief takes away from our energy source. It makes us feel that we can't move. It makes us feel that we can't open up, you know, to anything or anyone. So we do the shutdown method, because that's all we know what to do, because the body conscious just slowly shuts down. So what I do with my clients and patients, I have to ask them a question. Are you ready? That's the first thing I ask them. Are you ready to transition? Are you ready? Are you ready to go through your fears concerning your loss. Because if you're not ready, then it's not going to happen, right? So for those after they say, well, if you're not ready, let me help you get you ready, right? Because I'm so sorry, it's not an option for you to continue to be closed because you're dying inside. And because I know you're dying inside because you at your lowest state of depression, you at your lowest state of ADLs was activities of daily living. You can barely eat. You can barely keep your eyes open or you can't sleep at all. So you're being disturbed. Your whole being has been disturbed because of what you're going through. And so a lot of times I have to throw them a hope rope, Naima.
Hope
A
rope.
hope rope is where I said, okay, I'm going to throw this rope out there while you in your storm. And I need you to grab a hold of it. And I know it's hard for you to grab a hold of and hold on tight. But if you hold on tight while you are in your storm, I will pull you to shallow waters. Now, once you get to shallow waters, I'm going to ask you to stand. And when you stand, and then I'm going to ask you to walk. Because you got to walk back out to dry land. Because see, dry land is where your peace is going to come from. It's where your freedom is going to come from. It's where your power will be executed so that you can get your life back from what was stolen. So this is how I have to talk to them to let them know you're not in an area of despair. You're in an area of rescue.
Yes,
so
Dr.
I
Debbie,
need you to self-rescue while I'm rescuing you. And most of the time they do that. Okay, most of the time, okay. Most of the time that's when they're ready because see, I done motivated them, empowered them all in 5 minutes. So they're like, well, Dr. Green ain't gonna let me go, so I might as well come on. Come on with
well,
it.
that's good.
We got
There you go.
Can't stay.
Yeah, we got one more
Go
call.
ahead,
We got
take the
about
call.
2 seconds. 773.
Hey, grief is one of the things we can talk about, honey. Yes, we can.
Yeah, everybody can relate. Yeah, your mic is open. 773-371. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question or comment for our guests.
Hi, my name is Darlene.
Because you got 3 minutes.
Wellington. And I just dialed in, and I enjoyed the caller's response. As being a grief counselor myself, it is kind of difficult sometimes to get someone who's in pain, any kind of pain, doesn't have to be grief, to let you inside, for them to have confidence in you that you can be of help to them in some kind of way. Nothing is always perfect, but if they trust us to walk alongside of them during this tragic moment of their lives, or most painful moment of their lives, because the body keeps score of the hurt and the pain that they have dealt with down through the years, not just from a recent loss.
Of course.
I agree with the speaker that it takes time, and they have to believe that you're offering them hope. They have to believe that you're just not going to see them for one time. 90 seconds.
Yes.
Because we have a support group at Apostolic.
Well, that is wonderful. Well, you know, Darlene, we're about to go. We only got about a minute left, about 60 seconds. But we want to definitely have you back to talk more about some of that work that's being done. And we thank everybody who's been here. And of course, you got another last words, Dr. Debbie Green.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that called in. Thank you for Blog Talk Radio and Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And leave us a comment on how you were affected by grief, as well as any other topics that you want to have me discuss on. Again, thank you to the panel. I appreciate everything that y'all put in and put out into the world, and know that, use your words, use your gifts to magnify the kingdom, because you're kingdom personnel, whether you realize it or not. Okay, so get in line. And it's a wonderful thing. Again, really, really quickly, the body keeps the score. Yeah, there's a book that's been written on that. For those who are dealing with grief, grief. Also, there's a book that's called it's a near-death experience. It's called Embrace. Betty Jean Eady, Embraced by the Light, a near-death experience book. You may want to definitely do that, and know that if you lost a loved one, know that this is very true. The bloodline lives on. The bloodline lives on through your eyes, through your mouth, through your legs, through all parts of your being. They walk with you, they talk with you. And so live your best life yet. Don't make mistakes, because mistakes will only take you in the same things. Say it's a challenge or an error, and then you'll find a solution every time. So again, this is Dr. Debbie Green. Welcome and thank you again for being with us, and take care of yourself.
All right.
Thank y'all. I'm back to
the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com.